Thanks for joining us. This is Sipping Tea with Nat and Z. I'm Nat and I'm Z.
No.
I'm Nat and I'm Z.
You are not
Sorry.
Z.
I was really reading.
You are not Z, okay? I'm Z, you are not.
Oh. Hey y'all, I'm Nat.
And
I'm Nat.
Z.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. That's how the day has been for both for me and for Z today.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm up or down, which way I'm going. I just don't know anything right now. And so because of that, I just, really need to figure out my life. So maybe it might be good for you to be Z.
Okay.
For a little bit.
Just for a little bit.
You can take it on for both of us.
I'll see what I can do.
This has been
goodness.
Trailer.
Yeah.
Part fire.
Cluster, you know what.
Oh, and we'll get into that when we get into the hot tea. So let's just get to the tea of the day. We are not tea experts. Talk to your doctor when drinking herbal tea, as there are potential side effects when mixed with some medication. This should not be a substitute for medication, even though right now I have an upset stomach, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Ginger tea is,
yes,
and peppermint tea. Ooh,
peppermint.
They help with an upset stomach. We're not affiliated with any companies or are these endorsements. So, what is the tea on the table?
Zen's Travel Tea Set, a Triton portable teapot infuser for one. So, it's great for tea fans to enjoy their favorite loose leaf tea anywhere. And you all know that we are a fan of loose leaf tea on this show, right? And one thing that's really great, it's wonderful for the pandemic because you kind of have your own teapot with you in your own space. Nobody has to touch your stuff, and it's just you and your teapot, which is lovely. Yes, because nowadays, yeah. It comes with a teacup. It's heat resistant, lightweight, and most important to me, it is dishwasher safe.
Mm-hmm.
And comes with a really cute carrying case, and it is $28.99.
$28.99, and you can find it on your Amazons.
Amazon.
Yes.
We are not endorsing that. We're just telling you where you can find it.
Right. Don't blame me.
Because Bezos don't pay us.
No, so he does not.
We are not endorsing. We're just saying where you can find it.
And he barely like paying the people to do work for him. So
that part.
Or does he even run the company anymore?
No, he doesn't run the company anymore.
Yeah,
he's on the board.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's too busy finding space.
He's too busy with his young bitch. Oops, excuse me. Sorry.
Oh, the mistress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That part.
Oh. As we get into mistresses, hot tea. Okay, hot tea. First on the list. It's not even social media hot tea. This is group chat hot tea.
Oh.
So we had a group chat recently, and a friend of us told us some information about how this woman sent her child to her ex-husband's house, and the child came back to her house with a full head of perm. The child is 11. And
hell to the no.
The woman whom he married was his side chick, and this woman decided to perm this 11-year-old child's head without consulting the parents, well, specifically the mother, and she did it for a wedding. Let me be clear in what I'm about to say. I told my husband, I said, let me say something. God forbid we ever break up. But if we do, and I send my child to you, and she comes back with a perm in her head, you best call, what's his name? John Walsh. Because I'm going to get to cutting and slicing and be on the run. I'll be on America's Most Wanted. Because I wish the audacity of you to touch
It is the audacity of another child. So you just trying to See, that's why there's shows. That's why Lifetime Movie Network. There's a Lifetime Movie Network. Why there's a Snapped. Why there's all those type of shows, because that's just out of order on so many levels.
Let me tell you, woo, I'm just letting you know, if you are a stepmother out there or even a stepfather and you are co-parenting, or not even co-parenting, that's not it. If your spouse has children with another person, do not do anything to that child's hair that was not authorized by that parent. Parents, don't let somebody catch a case out here behind some dumb shit like that. I'm letting you know now.
Woo!
I don't play about my child, and if I send you to her, you better return her in the same condition I sent her to you in.
Thank
Period.
you.
I'm gonna perm that child's hair at 11. Who's still
What?
doing that stuff? Who's still doing that?
Right.
First of all, you're putting chemicals in a child's hair.
Especially after all the stuff that we know about the residual effects that could happen for young. She's still developing.
You raggedy bitch. I'm
Mm.
telling you, these people out here getting audacity by the caseload. They must go to Costco.
It's on sale.
It must be.
Yeah. They buying at BJ's on bulk.
They must. So I had to get that out of the way, because that right there, that's going to be a podcast topic at a
Yeah,
later
in
date.
itself.
Like what you should do in situations when, like, these children ain't yours and you out here doing stuff acting like they are.
And if you don't need to have a conversation, like, why would, unless the mother comes to you and says, "Hey, I was thinking of, because I'm going to adjust her hair now, so when I send her to you, her hair may be different because I chose to do that." But you raggedy bitch, you gonna do that with my child? Oh no.
No. But it's very. I saw this right before we got on, and I saw this quite. It was like on Instagram, like one of those blogs sites, and they had this woman who recorded one of her children's father come to the house with food for his child. Now she has other children, but these other children are not his children. And so the question was he wrong for bringing food for only his child? Now, I personally said I would take my son or daughter from the home with me to feed them somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
He's not obligated to buy food for anybody else's. Those are your kids. Those are your kids. And you expect this man, who did not help you make these other children, buy food. And I don't even remember how many other kids she had, but it was plural S. Her other kids.
Plural S. S's. Mm.
So we are going to have to do a podcast topic and dive deeper into this dynamic, because I think the older we get, we do find ourselves in more blended families, because a lot of people have gotten divorced, they've gotten remarried, or even if they haven't, maybe there's a co-parenting situation where the other parent is in another relationship and the other person isn't. There's a lot that needs to be unpacked there, but that is a whole hot ass mess. Okay. So
Beyond a hot ass mess, because that is just inappropriate.
yes,
it's a violation.
So we're going. So remember, audience, we're going to come back to that.
Yeah, we'll circle back around.
So first thing on the real hot topic, hot tea list. I keep saying hot topic. Hot tea list is Beyonce. Beyonce has come out with a song called "Break My Soul." Apparently, this project that she's coming out with is going to be a variety of different genres of music. It's going to have country. It's going to have like old school R&B. Of course, we had some house or bounce music. And initially, I was like, I'm not a house music fan. I'm just not. And it doesn't matter who it is. I'm just not. Like,
it's not your thing.
It's not. So when everybody was
Mhm.
talking about Drake's album that came out like a couple days before this, they was like, "What is he doing? This is terrible." I knew that this was the new wave. As soon as I saw that his album was mostly this, I was like, "Oh, this is the new wave." Like how Afro beats was the new wave, and everybody
Right.
wanted to get Wizkid or Thames or
Mhm. On the
or
track.
Burna Boy on there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This is like the new thing, right? And so when it came out, I was like, "Okay, everybody's just riding this new wave, right?"
Mhm.
But so I wasn't like impressed initially. And I am a stan. I'm not a well, I'm a fan stan, but I'm always tell y'all I'm Beehive adjacent because them people are
Be
crazy.
They're special.
But when I heard the lyrics, I was like, this is kind of timely because people it's the song is called Break My Soul if you haven't heard it, but you had to have heard it. And I was like, wow, this is very timely because the country is trying to break my soul right now.
Girl.
Uh, they really are, and I think they're winning. That's why my stomach is so upset right now, because I'm just like I hold a lot of energy, and I'll get into that too. But I just hold a lot of nervous energy. Like I said, I suffer from anxiety, so sometimes it manifests itself in different ways. And today is deciding to
Mhm.
manifest itself into just stomach issues, and
Right.
um so it's timely, but I don't think and I think people thought, okay, this song is really gonna bring a lot of joy into people's lives because you're dancing and you're just trying to feel good. I haven't like I'm sorry, like the world is on fire. I don't know if Jesus himself could come down here and lead a gospel choir
Mm.
singing Amazing Grace. It's going to make me feel any better about the state in which we are going in.
It's upsetting. It's
This
beyond upsetting.
Right. And this is bringing us to our second topic, which is the Supreme Court of the United States. What and I'm about to use some very explicit language in this segment. So if you are someone who doesn't like cursing and is very sensitive to that, please go ahead and fast forward to like a minute and you should be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? The Supreme Court has fucking lost its mind.
Beyond.
Lost its mind. And someone who is who's gone to law school, whose favorite subject in law school was constitutional law, who fully understands
Tell it.
what is
Tell it,
happening.
Reef.
So you have people who read the Constitution, they're very strict. They read it for exactly what it says. They don't interpret it to mean anything else other than what it says. Then you have people who look at it and say, okay, I'm going to interpret this as something else. Why? Because at the time that this was written, there were different times and these things meant different things. That is why there's such a big debate on the Second Amendment when it comes to guns, because if you are reading a strict interpretation of it,
Hmm.
it doesn't make sense for today's world. Period.
Thank you.
It
Because
doesn't.
they were muskets. Freaking
Right.
muskets.
And you don't really understand. You understand what the intention was. The intent was then, but there's no way that the founding fathers could have thought that we would be where we are now. There's just no way they thought that, right? There are certain rights that we have that aren't explicitly stated within the Constitution, but are implied, right? And we see that with the 14th Amendment, right? So, under the 14th Amendment specifically, is where you're finding the precedent for Roe v. Wade. Like, this is how they have established, well, it was established that this was a right that women should have the right to choose what to do with their body. Somehow, we have traveled back. Well, not everybody, because black people have still been stuck in like the 1950s, regardless
That
of,
part.
and even before
Yes.
that.
Thank
But
you.
now we have literally rolled back the clock to a time where I never thought we would go. Like, I never thought that this would be an issue. I'm sorry. I just didn't. Call me
Ever.
naive, but I was like, it's set law. And now
It's precedent. It's
it
precedent.
is what it is. And I'm sitting here knowing that this was coming and still being flabbergasted. And of course, it was the same six stupid ass motherfuckers on
Ugh.
that fucking Amy. I
Girl.
hope. Let me tell you what my petty prayers are for you. I hope every time you drive somewhere, all four of your tires go fucking flat. I hope that you can never get a straight part in your head. I hope that
Mm.
you forever smell onions and cannot figure out where the fuck that smell is coming from.
Mm.
I hope you have explosive diarrhea while you're sitting on a goddamn bench.
Nah.
I just hope so much shit for you, because
Literally.
I'm just, you have to understand, I'm very passionate about a lot of things. I consider myself a granola-ish liberal. I am very like, just let people figure out what they want to do with their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is very upsetting. And the thing is, abortion isn't going to, people aren't going to stop getting abortions. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
What's going
It
to,
didn't stop then. It didn't
it
stop.
didn't.
It's never stopped.
Never. It
Never.
has never stopped.
Ever, ever, ever stopped.
What's going to happen now is that women are going to have a hard time getting safe abortions. You're going to have people out here monopolizing the drug market by buying up Plan Bs,
The black market.
and
The black market.
yes, and selling it at an astronomical markup. Or you're going to have somebody who thinks they're in fucking Breaking Bad, and they're going to concoct a fucking abortion pill,
synthetic shit,
and put fentanyl in it, and now bitches is overdosing on Plan Bs because people out here thinking they're damn Walter White. It is obscene and insane. And so we moved from Roe v. Wade. So I'm like, okay, what's the next case? Because I've been paying attention to the goddamn docket. I've been paying attention to this docket, okay, to see what cases have been coming up. And I'm telling you, this is all strategic. But before I get into that, after the Roe v. Wade comes out, this is where they are now. I forgot what that senator's name is. I officially blocked it out of my head. He said, now that we've done this, let's look at Plessy and Brown.
Yes. And then the other douchebag talk about, let's look at contraception and
Clarence?
Gay marriage.
Yeah. Oh, we need to look at...
I just can't say his name. I can't say his name because he just doesn't deserve it to be said.
We need to look at the right to contraception. We need to look at gay marriage.
Right. So you mean to tell me, so now I can, as a woman, I have no dominion over my body. No. People can just fuck whatever. You're going to get pregnant, and now you can't get rid of the pregnancy. You're not going to have contraception to prevent the situation from happening. And now they're not going to... Are you just trying to get rid of women?
Oh, you have dominion over your body, according to this one Republican. I think she was a representative. She said all women need to do is control the intake of semen into your body.
What the fuck?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Said.
What?
That is what she said. That you can control the intake of semen into your body.
How is this done exactly?
Oh, Jesus, we are in trouble.
Who is it? What?
Mm-hmm. I can't remember her name because I refuse.
Is she? She's an OB-GYN is what I'm hearing.
Who knows?
Oh, okay. She's a master Kegel instructor or something.
I don't know.
Kegel instructor.
I don't know, but this
pelvic floor therapist.
I don't know.
I'm trying to understand.
But this is what.
How the hell you get off?
This is what she said. This is what she said.
So, I had the one of the other ladies on. I can't even say ladies. I'm sorry. Let me scratch that because that is not appropriate. This chick was on the news. Talking about, we've come this far. We've really been talking to suburban women who really want that. And I was like, suburban women? You worried about suburban women being protected from not having an abortion? Suburban women who have the means to go anywhere they need to go to get one. And that was your end game. This one chick was talking about, because family members some of my family members had abortions, those are people that I never got to meet in my family, and now it has decimated my family.
Well,
man, what?
Well, no. So let's be clear. This is really about, and I'm about to say something that's going to be very controversial. To me, it was a conspiracy at first, like a conspiracy theory, but it is real. It is actual. This is not based on religion, okay? So the evangelistical crazy folk out there, this is not really based in Christianity at all. This is based in population control. White men understand that the population of white people has not grown.
Dwindled.
It has dwindled. And they are going to be the minority.
Replacement theory. That's where the replacement theory is coming from.
So for them, this is the perfect opportunity to keep white women as breeders and help their population grow so that they can keep control in this country. Because the issue is, in some point, it doesn't matter how many, the thought process was, it doesn't matter how much you try to redistrict, you're going to be the minority. And so the majority is going to be the voice. And if you look at it, the majority of people that they've polled, the majority of Americans wanted Roe v. Wade to stay. So how the Supreme Court decided to do something that's against what the public wants
Yep.
is insane. This shit is, they're rogue as hell. So I go and I say, okay, that they did that. They're now telling people that, oh, just because you get your, if they forget the Miranda rights, you can't sue the law enforcement. Now everybody can conceal and carry, so it's about to be the fucking Wild Wild West out here. So I'm like, what else?
It's the beginning of summer. You do it in the beginning of summer?
Well, that's when all of their cases, they go, and this is the time that they do their calendar, and then they go out and don't work for like 9 months, and then come back and wreak havoc. So I was like, okay, what's up next? I was like, oh shit, the separation church and state. My dumb self was like, there's no way. I know there's a lot of conservatives on this court, but the Constitution literally says there's a separation of church and state. Surely they can't go against what the Constitution explicitly states. And these motherfuckers did.
You know it.
They said
explicitly.
Oh, there is no separation of church and state. You can pray wherever. Teachers can lead their students in prayers. Oh, this is chaos. And I know, look, I believe in a higher power. I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But do not lead my child in prayer. It is not your job to give my child religious instruction unless I send her to a school that I'm paying for them to give her religious instruction. She's there to learn. Period. You can use vouchers for religious schools now. What is going on? The whole world is on fire.
The tyranny of the minority is ruling the majority. That was in Politico this morning. Yeah, with Jonathan Lemire. And that was the title of his article this morning. And excuse me. Yeah.
It's chaos. And
it is.
It's only going to get worse. And I'm telling you, don't come to me telling me, oh, well, we need to do something now. The time for us to have done something has already passed. Y'all should have been thinking about that shit in 2020. Y'all should have been thinking about that. Actually, I'm going to say before then, but 2020, when Trump got into office, that's when people should have been doing it. All those midterm elections in between there, that's when you should have been doing it. It's too late now. It's too late now.
The horse is out of the barn, around the track, out in the meadow.
Oh, it's too late now. The only thing you could do is mitigate the damages that have been done and try.
And how that is going to happen.
And try to prevent. Even know. But as long as it's 6-3, it's going to be like this for a very long time. Because unless they get Clarence Thomas out of there before Biden gets out of office, that's pretty much about it. They got to get him out of there. And I don't know who else on there is old enough to die off the bench.
Nobody else.
Whatever. People were, oh Jesus, people were voting for Trump thinking it was a joke. And look at where you have gotten us.
Yes, they thought it was funny. Like, hey, this is going to be funny. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see The Apprentice try to run the country.
Y'all thought this was a social experiment, and it was. That went fucking wrong.
Beyond.
And I am disgusted. I am disgusted.
When we start a new Earth? Because this one right here, I'm ready to go.
Not a new Earth.
Where's that? Lost in Paradise? What movie was that? Let me find that boat with what's his name? Fifth Element. And just get on that bitch and go. Because this right here,
not a new Earth though. Most people trying to find a different country. You're like, I'm just trying to find a whole new planet. I'm done with this one.
I'm done with this one. I'm so done with this one. Because I cannot. I'm just I literally, when I heard everything, I walked around the house. I said, I hope nobody at work thinks we're going to get anything done today. Because my clients specifically, the clinics that my clients are in Louisiana, just got shut down as soon as that thing got put out.
Yeah, a lot of them did.
Like the trigger laws.
Yeah, there were women that I read. There were women literally getting ready to get on the table, and they said, yes, ma'am, we cannot.
In the waiting room, on the table, saying, we can't do this. You got to go home. You got to go home. All I do know, there's going to be a whole bunch of married people with a whole bunch of extra family members. Okay? Ancestry.com is about to blow the hell up.
No, it ain't.
Because a whole bunch of people going to have some extra family members. And the one thing that just infuriates me They, whew, whew, they are wanting to criminalize someone. The possibility is there that has a miscarriage, and they're going to the possibility to say that did you really have a natural miscarriage, or did you try to do it yourself? And if you didn't, how are you going to prove that? And now we're about to bring you up on charges and put you in jail, and
Oh,
you're already going through something traumatic on both sides, whether it happened by natural causes or what have you.
well, you saw.
And now you're going to criminalize it?
Well, you saw what happened in Missouri, right? That congressman, I think it was the governor or somebody, had a spreadsheet of all the women who I guess if you
Yes,
use
or
the app,
periods.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, and I saw that that's another thing, ladies. If you have a tracking app for your period, they're tapping into to try to tap into that to get access to, like that man had the spreadsheet,
yeah.
and then figure out, well, did your cycle come off? I'm like, for me, for most women, your periods are off. God forbid those of us that have fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, and your reproductive, and now you are literally up in the womb,
Yep.
up in the whole hoo ha, but yet you're gonna authorize freaking Cialis and Viagra, but the woman has to just literally just lay there. Incest, the danger to the mother. Who's deeming that? And then you're gonna prosecute the doctors
Yeah.
trying to save the mother's lives.
Yeah, well, and now that you said that, so The View, Sunny Houston, I think that's how you say
Yeah,
her last name.
Austin. Mm-hmm.
She was like, I'm against, she's like, she's anti-abortion in any situation, incest, rape. Now, this is a very, now, there's a second part to this, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
focusing on this part. Well, let's reverse. She said that and then said, but I don't believe that the court should be involved in a woman making their a decision. That even her thinking that was disappointing to me. In incest and rape, you don't think that abortion, like, so you want somebody to have to look at a child that they birthed through a very violent exchange? What the fuck is wrong with you? As educated as you are, what the fuck is wrong
Yeah,
with you?
I can't.
And if you're listening to us and you think that, what the fuck is wrong with you? That is insane. You get raped, molested, get pregnant, and you have to have this fucking child? Are you kidding me?
I you know what? I am just like beside myself. I was assaulted when I was 14. And had I gotten pregnant at that time, my life would not be anywhere near what it is right now. And those decisions would have been made for me. I cannot, and for me to have someone tell me I would have to carry a child of the person who attacked me to term, and it's already traumatic. Good Lord, I already contemplated suicide behind the attack as it is, and now you add that on top of it. I just, oh my goodness, my pressure gonna get up. I took my blood pressure medication today, but my pressure's up on right now.
Because this people don't look at the human aspect behind the decisions they're making. They're just making decisions based on whatever it is they feel. These are white men making decisions that affect people. They just, let me just leave that alone. All I'm saying is this country that we are in, it's this shit's gonna get worse. And if you think they're not coming for you, they are. They already are working at it. For the fact that that white man came out his mouth and said that let's think about Plessy and let's think about Brown, you think they not?
They've been working on that just as long as they've been working on Roe v. Wade.
They trying to take everything. And let's be clear, black people, we ain't got shit as it is. So where you think we're gonna end up when this all when the dust settles?
They annihilating us as it is. They already don't take care of black women as it is when it comes to birth, maternal care, reproductive rights, and now you're adding this on top of it. So now you don't have any paid maternal leave, child care. Nobody subsidizes health care. So what the hell are you supposed to do? Because now the man is not culpable because he can just go on and impregnate whoever the hell he wants to.
But here's another thing that there's these two last points that I'm going to make, and then I'm going to move on. There's 2 points. One, if you're in a state that abortion is currently legal, don't get too comfortable. Because at any time we get a different governor, if you're in a blue state and your state turns red,
ooh,
guess what's coming?
Guess what's coming? And how they've packed the courts from the past couple years, that's coming into clear view right now
Guess
with
what's
how those
coming?
courts are packed.
Guess what's coming? That's coming. So don't get too
Trust and
comfortable.
believe.
Like, oh, it doesn't affect me. If you have children, it does.
Yep.
Now, that's the first. That's the first point. Second point, if these are, there's a few states, it's like split, right? Half of the states say yes, half of the states say no. The half of the states say yes. Do you know that how taxing it is going to be on these places? Planned Parenthood is a separate situation,
Yes.
right? Because they get a lot of funding from a lot of different people's
Entities. Yeah.
entities. But if you are
Hmm.
a clinic, a standalone clinic, your prices are going to go up, which means that people who are in the state, who live there, who are
Yep.
residents that now need your service are going to have to pay more and are going to be
Yep.
priced out of getting this
Their own.
service.
Yes. Yes. And then the travel. Just one of the ladies on TV who's at Planned Parenthood in some part of Texas or something said that she had a young woman who drove from Texas to Alexandria, Virginia over 3 days with her two other children to get an abortion, got back in the car within an hour of the procedure to drive back because she had to go to work because they would not give her off in Texas. And she had no means of childcare. The woman just, I,
Well,
I just,
we're going to come
my,
back around to this because this is very important.
whew.
Actually, you know what? I am going to set up a podcast episode where we talk about the Bill of y'all need education, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to
They don't teach
educate
civics
you.
anymore, so I
Mm-mm.
think that's
I'm going to teach you
well
about the
deserved.
Equal Protection Clause. We're going to have class because y'all need to understand what is at stake because y'all don't.
They have no
Y'all
idea.
really don't.
Not a clue.
So, and when I mean y'all, I ain't talking about everybody that's listening because some of y'all do, but y'all, you know what I mean when I say y'all. So, let's get into, and this is probably going to be a longer episode than normal because we did go deeper into some things than we originally planned, but that's okay. Just stick with us because we got a good topic today. We didn't even talk about what it is. It's being submissive, which is
Right.
perfect timing. So the next thing
Because
up,
that's what people seem to think that we need to be to get this.
hello.
Mm.
The next thing up is Versus and the BET Awards. And all I'm going to say about both of these is that I don't know what these new Negroes is doing, these new ninjas, these R&B ninjas, but y'all need, I'm going to tell you, Sean Stockman of Boyz II Men said it perfectly. These people, these R&B singers are more focused on their look and
Yep.
stunting instead of
Uh,
rehearsal and preparation. You have people that I thought were
mm.
excellent singers get on the stage, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
I heard it was really bad. I didn't see
Giveon
it.
was on the BET Awards, sounded like trash. I mean, woo, and I like Giveon,
What?
and he sounded horrible. You had Versus, which was hilarious. They had Omarion sounding like trash. You had Bobby V sounding like trash. Ray J sounding like trash. Jeremiah sounding like trash. I mean, these sound like alley cats. The two
What?
people,
Not alley cats.
alley
Oh,
cats.
shit.
The two people who
Oh my
actually
god.
made out in that was Mario and Sammy. Mario, ooh, that boy, he understands the assignment. He
Yes.
sings, and
Yes.
you could tell that he is prepared. He practices, he rehearses. That boy can sing. Sammy can sing. I don't know what Bobby V was doing up on that stage. Jeremiah sounded like somebody was choking him in the middle of him trying to hit high notes. It was
What?
absolutely trash.
Did they not did they just say, hey, y'all, we have a versus, y'all wanna come through? Like that morning?
No, they've been preparing for this for a while, and it was supposed to be Omarion versus Mario.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Omarion tried to rely on other things other than his vocals, dancing. He was doing some perversion with a watermelon. So now they're calling
What?
him Omelion instead of Omarion.
Wait,
Omelion, yes.
oh
Or Omelon or something they call him now. This was terrible. And then with that, we got tea about how B2K really, like, Omarion
really?
really ain't never had it. His vocals was never on point. They had other people coming in
Oh.
and singing his songs. He called his
For
other,
B2K?
yes, he called his,
Bump, bump, bump.
yes, he called his other people, background singers. background dancers, like, told them they need to go work for UPS. Girl, it was a whole
Oh,
hot mess. The BET Awards was a whole hot mess. It's just a mess. But let's take a break. And when we come back, we will get into the tea time.
and we're back. So, as y'all know, the topic is submissive, being submissive, right? Which, in light of everything that we've talked about, apparently SCOTUS and anyone else who backs them thinks women should be submissive and just take it, no lube, no nothing, just take it and keep it moving. No, thank you, whatever. So the topic of submission and being submissive has definitely floated around in society a lot through culture and social media lately, and definitely in regards to relationships. So Webster defines submissive as ready, ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly obedient or passive. Meekly obedient. Okay. So what does someone being submissive mean? It means inclined or ready to submit or yield to authority of another. Unresistingly or humbly obedient. The definition alone shows why the idea of being submissive has been problematic. Because let someone just tell you that off the break that you're supposed to be meek and mild and all those things and do what you're told. And it is problematic for both men and women. But some people don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. And generally, most people think it only refers to women. St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians, rendered in the New International Version of the Bible, that's NIV for y'all. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives submit to their husbands in everything. So a lot of people stand on that and run with it.
Yes, they do.
And just think it's just the end all be all, but they don't read before, after, interpretation, just nothing. They're like, this is what it is, and then stop.
Right. And
You
stop,
know,
period. And
yeah, I'm just saying. But the verse before says husbands and wives submit to one another. But that part conveniently is always left out. So one thing that I'll say, most of society that does disagree with this view of submission, mainly on the women part, because they're like, you gonna tell me to do what? And a lot of that's definitely driven by I don't want to say a particular part of religious society, but religiosity comes into play, and they try to use this as a beacon for how they treat women and just people in general, unfortunately. A submissive wife, one thing that's been said is a submissive wife is not a woman who does everything her husband says to do when he says do it. But if she and her husband disagree on something, even after discussing it, the husband has a final say. So in some cultures, that may in fact be the case.
Well, yeah, there's some women who, like, so most, like you said, most of society does disagree with the view of submission. But those who do believe in submitting in your relationship, they think that this is a more flexible concept of submission. Like, yeah, agree with everything, but have a conversation about everything. But if you disagree, the husband has the final say.
The final say.
Yeah.
Right. And for some cultures that's normal, and it's just how it is. And there's no pushback, and it doesn't necessarily tie into the religiosity of that, what is oftentimes pushed, but it's just the culture of those individuals.
Right.
Excuse me. But then on the other hand, to be a submissive wife means submitting to the Lord and his order of how he has planned the family. And this is where some people also run with it, as far as who is the head, and not one is lesser than the other, because someone has to be in charge, and that person is usually the husband. Now, this is apparently according to when they assume that family unit is all there.
Right.
That, of course, is not necessarily the case for now all the time. It just isn't how that works. So how you expect a woman, if she's the head of her household, and then let's say she gets with someone, she's automatically just to be submissive, but she's been the head of her household just because you feel that that's what should be done religion-wise, I just can't personally get down with that.
No. And I would say there's some people who don't necessarily believe that it's fully based in religion, but just based in the fact that they think women are the weaker sex and therefore
Right.
should always be the ones that compromise the most in
Mm-hmm.
situations because of the traditional gender roles. But again, traditional gender roles for the most part are rooted in some form of religion. But
Which
there's,
is where we seem to be heading back to.
well, facts. But one of the things that I think is always missing is that there's there's a privilege of being
Yes.
submissive. And
Mm-hmm.
so when doing the research for this, I was like looking at stuff and I found this blog, this digital platform, Zora. And they had a very interesting perspective on what it takes to allow submission in a relationship when it involves Black women specifically. And this was very interesting and very telling. And I agree with all of this 100%. And so basically, the first thing they said is somehow discussions about gender roles are always weaponized against Black women. And that is a fact. And it is especially,
Agree.
yes, yes, agree. And you'll see it, and especially when it's used to as a way to explain our inability to please Black men.
Uh.
So, but that is a trope. We've
Yes.
somehow succumbed to these tropes that, and those tropes are like they characterize us as being masculine, unyielding, promiscuous, too hard, and
Yep.
and too controlling, and therefore we are unable to please Black men. But we don't even
Right.
understand that this is all rooted in chattel slavery. And
Hello.
how? Because Black womanhood was always defined against white womanhood.
Yep.
And this was in an effort to create this very clear boundary as to white women can be loved and cherished and worshipped, put on a
Yep.
pedestal. You can't touch them; they're like little porcelain dolls. Where Black
Mm-hmm.
women constantly were the ones that would be harmed, exploited. You
Mm-hmm.
could do whatever you
Disposable.
right, and it's still unfortunately the
The
same
case.
to this day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that was their first take on it. The second take was women of other races aren't burdened with the complicated task of having to prove their femininity in the first place. So this came out of the conversation with
that.
Jenny Mai, where Jenny Mai was married to a man, and she was very much in that relationship. It appeared to me to be the alpha woman. Like she didn't want children, she didn't want this, and their marriage eventually dissolved. Then she got
Right.
married to Jeezy, young Jeezy, and now she's like, I'm ready to submit. I can submit. I'm so grateful to submit. At no time did anybody say, oh, you're too independent, you're too selfish, you're too
Mm-hmm.
rough, you're too masculine. It never happened, right? And it doesn't happen. White women have the flexibility, the ability to pick and choose. They can straddle the fence. I'm going to say this, and
Yeah.
this is going to offend some people, and I'm sorry, but this is how I see it. This is how I viewed it. I've had people actually tell me this. I've gone to school, PWI, where I've seen white women act a whole fool, hoeing themselves out, excuse my language, and not to slut shame, but literally just out here, just hooking up randomly, just doing all kinds of stuff,
For
and
the streets.
very for the streets, get married, and it's just like they are pristine, like you would never even
Uh-huh.
thought that they were like that in college, right?
At all.
And they get the ability to do that. They have the
Yep.
flexibility to do that. They are able to explore their sexuality in college and no one says anything about it. They're able to
Nope.
be promiscuous and no one says anything about it, right? They never have to prove their femininity to anyone. White women, I mean, Black women, oh, no, 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 no. We are not giving that
Good luck with
space.
that one.
We are not giving that space. We can't do anything. White women get a reset button, Black women don't. We get a rewind button because people always want to go back to your past. What did you do? How'd you get, like, that's how it always is for us. So the truth of the matter is, and if you're a Black man, please understand this and hear me well. It's not hard to find a devoted, loyal, and even submissive Black woman. It really isn't. We're not a rare
Mm,
breed.
no.
If
We'll
anything,
submit to the right person.
right. And if anything, we have shown you time and time again, historically, that when you attack us on our femininity, we will overcompensate.
Yep.
We will overcompensate.
We go above and beyond
Yep.
to try to be what we think you
One.
looking for, that you see, that you seem to recognize and appreciate in
Yep.
others. And we will try to attain that
Yep.
only To be
Yep.
dismissed.
We will dig our heels in
Mm.
deeper in sexism and colorism,
Yep.
hoping, hoping
Holding on to a hope and a prayer
that we
that is what's going to make it.
that you'll love us,
Whew,
that you'll want us. There are pick me women out there. You see them all the time. Be
all the
clear, I am
time.
not. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't never been a pick me woman. Will never be a pick me woman. Just ain't. This is not gonna happen. But there are a lot of women out here
Mm.
who their ultimate goal for them is to be loved by a black man, and they will go through lengths to do it and
Everything
still be
to do
told
it.
that no, you're not
Good
submissive
enough.
enough. You're not submissive enough.
Yep.
You
Your
don't
mouth too
you
slick. You
yeah.
doing too
Oh yeah.
much.
Oh
You doing too
oh
the whole you doing too
you
much
doing too
thing.
much. Your mouth
When your mouth
you
just
too smart. Your mouth too smart. You too slick.
you too you too smart for your own good.
You need to humble yourself.
Mm. Step down from that humble brag stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Take it down a notch.
Always. Now,
Mm.
unfortunately, this is where we find ourselves. So, and I'm not trying to beat up on black men, but most black women want to be in relationships with a black man. Like I saw on Instagram, I don't know if anybody follows Kadeen and Deval. They're like a millennial
Mm-hmm.
couple that has beautiful boys, 4 boys. They do podcasts. They are like, and a lot of people look at them as relationship goals. I have learned you do not look at anybody's relationship
Thank
as
you.
relationship goals.
No, you
You
do
really
not.
don't know what is going on behind
Hello.
closed doors, right?
Mm, mm,
So I
mm,
don't look
mm,
at
mm.
anybody as relationship goal. I think that how they portray themselves to us is very cute. And I hope that is how it is behind the screen, but we don't know.
Right.
So he was saying that he married a black woman because marrying a black woman was the ultimate. Loving a black woman was ultimately loving himself, or basically loving himself to the highest degree, or something to that
Mm-hmm.
effect. And I felt that because he was saying when his friends who date others, right,
Mm-hmm.
who date others based on this false reality of who can be submissive and who can't be submissive, when it
Right.
comes down to it, the women that they marry that are not black don't understand when they come home with the stress and strife of the world. And they always say, why do you have to make everything about race?
Yep.
Well, of course, she can't understand the plight if she's not really invested in the plight.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She ain't gonna
Because it's
understand
not
that.
real to her. It's
No,
not real.
no.
There's no concept, and that sometimes and I wonder when those type of conversations are had if they feel some black men that may engage in those relationships based on that thought process that somehow it's going to make them forget that they have to deal with all that stuff as well, since it's not two people in the household that have to deal with the angst of being black. I don't know, I'm just pontificating
I
here.
don't know. I would say this. A lot of times when we talk about this, it's always in the context of like athletes, right? Like we don't really talk about this in the normal day to day, even though we know a
Right.
lot of people who have married women other than black women because on the premise of I need her to submit and she ain't gonna do it,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Like
Right.
you've met every black woman in the world and you have
Mm-hmm.
decided no black woman is gonna submit, so you're not even gonna attempt to date a black woman, right? I
But
got
what
you.
is the submission thing that they're considering? Is it because you want them to submit and not say shit if you're being grimy? Is that what they consider submission?
For some,
Because for some, because I'm not gonna buck against what you doing out in these streets. So if you're not gonna buck, then that's okay. You're being submissive. And some black women are like, I'm not putting up with that. So now you're not submissive because you don't want to put up with the fuckboy shit. And now you're deemed not submissive because you know you don't want to be played and you know you don't want to be dealt with in that manner, and because you voice that, now you're a problem
right?
because you think you not think you know you deserve better, but that other person is like, you just a problem when I got someone else that won't give me so much headache.
That's pretty much what it is for a lot.
Mm, yeah.
I would say for a lot of what I've seen. I'm not gonna just generalize it, but
Mm-hmm.
from
Mm-hmm.
conversations that I have had
Yeah.
with black men, from conversations that I have been privy to, it all boils down to black men don't think black women can submit, and therefore they decide that they don't want to marry black women because they want somebody to submit. And we're going to get into black men and
Mhm.
submission because there's a lot to unpack there, because
The
the
audacity.
audacity of some
Woo!
of black men. But and
I'm
this is
telling
not a
you,
bashing session. I
it
don't want to,
isn't.
because I do believe that there should be some submission in a marriage.
Of
In a
course.
marriage,
Thank
if
you.
you are not married to somebody, sit your ass down. Who you
Mm.
submit to? You ain't no,
This ain't house. Y'all ain't
no,
playing house.
in a
Y'all are not
marriage.
playing house.
And that's going to be, for some people, they're gonna be like, oh no, that's not. No, if you ain't married, don't even look
Mm.
at me to ask me to submit, because the answer will be no. Are you
Then
paying
do.
all of my bills? Did you buy my house? Did you buy my car? Like, what am I? Why would I be doing this? But
What am I submitting to if we're not married
right.
in that contract?
But I feel like in your marriage, yes, there should be some submission. However, my belief is that it should be a joint endeavor. One person should not be submitting more to the other person.
Thank you. Say it.
Male, female, I don't care. It just is, it shouldn't. And that's my personal belief. And that is how I govern my life and my decisions. You may be listening and think something totally different, and that is fine. What I
Mm-hmm.
believe is everybody was do what's best for your household and your family.
Mm.
Period. But let's get into black men in submission.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this digital site called Mama Nation, right? That states that overt institutionalized racism and oppression has set up the black family dynamic so that on the average, black women tend to be more formally educated and definitely, we earn more, disproportionately or earn more money than some black men based on how the educational situation is set up, right? And then this turn tends to disrupt traditional gender roles, meaning black men no longer deemed the breadwinner, which adds a whole nother dynamic to the whole submission viewpoint. And this internalized disruption can causes them to don't want to submit to black women. Because now they're seeing the unequal yoking in their mind that my woman makes more than me. How am I being a man or be a breadwinner? Let me go over here and find somebody else. And it just sets up. It's kind of like from the Willie Lynch thought process where they
Right.
tried to separate the family out, and now the woman has to be the breadwinner in that regard to take care of herself and her children.
Right.
You know, and my goodness. So, black men in submission in a nutshell, they don't ever have to think about being submissive. Some women believe that men only submit when it benefits their personal interest, which is what we just talked about. Like, how is it going to benefit what they're going to get away with for some? I don't want to generalize. But what some men think they're going to get away with so that they can claim that their spouse is submissive, they consider that that's parameters for submission because they can do whatever the hell they want. And the woman doesn't say anything. She doesn't buck, right? So then some yeah, I just had a moment where I just thought about something. I'm not gonna say it. So, and then there's some that don't understand that in order for a woman to be submissive, they have to feel safe, secure, that you can be trusted. Submission is not given, it is earned. How do you expect me to follow you and you aren't prepared to lead?
Woo!
I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna say that again. How do you expect me to follow you if you are not prepared to lead and you want me to submit to you and you can't keep your head out your
Woo!
ass?
That's the
Where are we
gospel.
going?
That's the
Where are we
gospel.
going if your head is up in your ass? What are you seeing? Where are we going?
But that in
Nowhere.
and of itself is the issue right then, right there.
Mm,
I know there are two. Like, I'm tired of getting on, and it's you get on social media and you just run with it, and it's like, I'm gonna tell you who initiates and antagonizes this conversation a lot. Little Duval,
mm.
and I don't follow him, but I always see posts come up that like that somebody has posted, and he'll pose a question, and then it just, like, people just go crazy. They talk
Yeah.
about Kevin Samuels, and they talk about a lot black women in submission. And the issue here is you want me to submit to you, and you can't hardly wipe your ass. Like, what are we
Ooh,
talking about here? Like, you
what?
understand what
Thank
I'm
you.
saying? Like, I'm supposed to submit to you, but you can't tell me where the hell we going.
Thank you. You
Where
want
we
me to
going?
submit? Where is the trust? You can only submit to somebody if you trust somebody. It's like swimming. If you in the water and you don't trust the lifeguard, you just gonna keep flailing around, and then both of y'all gonna drown
It's to
because you
me,
don't trust the person to take care of you, or to you need to submit to that person to carry you
and
and to lead you out of the water.
those are facts. And here's the thing: if you are, this is the funny part about it. If you're in a situation right now and these things apply to you, that is like, then there's this fundamental issue, right? Because you should be able to trust your partner enough to want to
Mm,
relinquish some control, right?
thank
But
you.
it is hard, and this is the part I was. It came up, and it's here. Is like society has hardened Black women.
Yes.
They have, and we. I know Black women, and I know Black men. Y'all go through a lot, and I promise you, I'm on front lines with you.
Right.
If you need me, I'm going to be there for you. But you also have
And
to,
y'all know that we do that for y'all.
yes. But you also have to understand, just as hard as society is on you,
Mm,
it is hard on us as well. And I would say
thank
equally
you.
as hard. And sometimes it's different, but it's hard. Yeah, it's different, but it's the same. We
Mm-hmm.
are taught from a very young age to toughen up. You got to be the strong Black woman. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to take care of yourself. You got to get these degrees. We are the most educated like group in the United States, and we are
Yes.
taught that we have to keep being go-getters. And
Yes.
then when we come home, you expect me to just automatically be able to turn all that off.
Quick, fast.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
Some
It's a
women
day in
have
the.
mastered it, a lot of women have not. If you are, think about this. You are CEO of a
Mm,
major corporation. You are the director of diversity and inclusion at your corporation. You are in charge. You are the director of operations.
mm,
You run a Fortune 500 company. You are in charge of thousands of people.
mm-hmm.
And then you come home and you're supposed to submit and just turn it off like that. It is hard, and you have to give us grace, and
Yes.
you have to understand that it's not that easy. It's not
Mm-mm.
that easy to turn it off.
Right.
It is
And then
hard.
they just and I guess some men just expect when that doesn't happen that they just were like, yeah, that's why I don't want to mess with her because she just can't submit. She can't give me what I need. But at the end, but just like we said, the ride or die mentality, the lengths that some Black women will go for their men, and then still have some men shit on them and say, no, I can't do this because you bucking too much. But that woman has put out everything to support that person, that man.
Well,
And like it's like you can't win for losing, because if you're submissive in one way, is that mean what does that one way look like that's acceptable when a man is like, okay, that this is what I need from you as a Black woman to be submissive.
it depends. You have to define it, right? For some men,
Right.
submissive is when I come home, you wait on me, cook food.
Yeah.
I want you in lingerie at all times, heels at
No
all
asking
times.
questions
Don't ask me a whole bunch of questions about where I've been, where I'm going.
of
No,
who
you
I've
don't
been
need to
with.
know about how much money I didn't spend today. No,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to make
Right.
any decisions about
At all.
about this purchase or that purchase. Like, there's levels to the submission, right?
Yes.
Or it could be, I just don't want no back talk. What I say
Yeah.
goes. If I say we doing this, we
That's
doing
what
it.
we doing.
Period. You don't you I make a decision, and then you want to hear you come trying to question
With
me
your mouth.
about why I'm making that decision. And that's for some people. That for some people, that is what being submissive is. Don't ask me a whole bunch of questions. Don't give me a whole bunch of input. That's it.
And I just don't understand why that is deemed, when a woman, some men that see women as not standing up for themselves is okay. So you don't want your woman to have a sense of self. You just want her to go say what goes.
Men don't
Go
know.
with whatever you know.
Men don't know what they want. Because let me tell
I
you,
mean, yeah.
if you're too much of a pushover, they are
Yep.
going to leave you for someone who got a little bit more spice, who a little bit more
Yep.
spicy, right? Until they get
Mm-hmm.
with that woman and they see that she's just, yeah, she's spicy, but she's spicy to you too. And it's just like,
Right.
oh, I can't deal with this. She got too
Mm.
much lip. She just be doing too much. She always got
Yep.
to say something. She always
I always
thinks
got
she's
something to
right.
say.
You know?
Got some words to say. Can't keep her mouth shut.
Right.
That's always
And we're speaking on this because you see it every day. I can go on social
every
media right
day.
now and I could get maybe 3 scrolls and I see somebody talk about what black women can't do, what they don't do, what they ain't willing to do, why
Yes.
they don't do this, why you here, why you doing that. Like everything we do gets questioned.
Mm.
And
Mm.
like when you were talking about earlier, when it's just like, oh, some women think that they have a flexible view of submission, and their idea is like, yes, we can discuss the issue, but at the end of the day, my husband has the final say. And I have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have a background in accounting,
Oh.
and your husband is, let's say, a mechanic, and he owns, yeah, let's say he's a mechanic and you're an accountant, and you're going over finances and you're good with numbers, and
Mm-hmm.
his math just ain't mathing, and he's telling you y'all can afford something that you are 100% sure you can't afford, and that if you try to purchase this item, this
Mm-hmm.
thing, that it could potentially ruin you guys financially. You telling
Yes.
me you just like, okay babe,
Right.
we'll do it.
Right. Just okay. So
Fuck
just
you say. No.
just lay wanton disregard to your life, just so your
Absolutely
man
not.
say, "Cause I said so." Fuck out of here.
It's a wonder why we're married.
Where you going with this? Mm, uh, woo,
But
mm.
say this. And don't y'all just this is a lot of this is shits and giggles for us. But it is. It's a lot of this is just shits and giggles. But
Woo.
I'm gonna say this, right? I don't. But here's the thing: I don't want. If I come to, if my like, okay, my husband knows IT. I know shit about IT. Okay, I don't know. I know how to plug a computer in. I know how to get on the Instagram and the books of faces, and that's about
Exactly.
it.
The butts of faces.
And that's about it. So if I'm trying to do something and my husband tells me that is not going to work, why am I not going to listen to him if his expertise is in IT?
Mm, just so you can flex or say that I don't understand. Like
Right,
the stunting. Like it goes back to what we talked about with Marion. Just trying to stunt.
right. Why
Who
would you do
are
that?
you stunting for?
Or you have a child, your child is ill, and your husband's a doctor, and you are an esthetician, and he's telling you what's wrong with your child, and you saying,
Mm-hmm.
no, that ain't it. And he's just supposed to be like, okay, we just don't do that.
Right.
Like,
Let me go on and Google it on WebMD then. I'm gonna go look over there,
that ain't
even though I
what.
have a doctor in the house.
Right. That doesn't like this, if you look at it from that perspective, it makes no sense
At
at
all.
all. But there is a possibility, personally, I believe, that you can have joint submission in
Yes.
your marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
it works. And I can tell you what it looks like, okay? And I can tell you what it looks like because I try to employ this in and utilize this in my marriage, right? I am an alpha woman. I know this. And my husband is
Mm.
an alpha male. We talk about these things all the time because, woo, we are like two rams going at it sometimes because we were both whole people before we got in this situation,
Yep.
both running our own lives before we
Gotta
got
have
married.
grace.
And so you have to understand that these are two people who've been running their lives for 30, well, for the majority of their life on earth.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I'm just, neither one of us is just going to be able to be like, Okay.
Okay. Okay.
It's just not
Okay.
possible, right?
No.
But it can work, it can happen, and I'll tell you how, right? And it just means that if you're submitting to your partner, it just means that you will be under a mission to love, respect, and grow
Mm.
together.
Mm.
Love, respect, and grow together. So,
Mm-hmm.
one of the ways you can have joint submission: respect your partner, respect your partner, respect their thoughts, respect their mindset, respect their
Mm-hmm.
expertise. You know what I'm saying? You don't know either everything, and neither does your partner.
Exactly. That's why it's a partnership.
Right? Just respect your partner, right? Um,
Some people don't know how to do that though
they
either.
don't. It's hard. Communicate with one another. It's the most common problem that couples
Mm-hmm.
have, is rooted in the lack of communication. Your voice shouldn't be silenced, and being able to
Mm-hmm.
voice your opinion is your right, but do it with tact. That means I can have an opinion on something, and we can have a conversation that doesn't turn into an argument, that doesn't turn into a disagreement. And well, we can disagree, but we can be respectful about it. I don't think we should buy a new car because such and such is about to go to college. I think we can
Mm-hmm.
afford to buy a new car. I just don't think so. Well, we're at an impasse. What are we going to do?
Right. How do you talk that out? How do you respect each other's position on it and still come to a consensus or a compromise that will work for the both of you?
Right. And you can do that.
Yeah. It's possible, but
It's
y'all got to listen. And you got to listen
listen to
and
your partner.
hear.
Yes, listen to your
Don't
partner.
listen to respond. Hear what's being said.
Right.
Most people don't know how to active listening. Most people don't know how to do that though.
No, they don't. Show your partner that you trust them. That's a big thing. We just talked about women, black women specifically. I know feel like if they can trust you, and when we say trust, it's not just about like you ain't gonna cheat on me, you ain't gonna do that. It's
Right.
just like I've been running my life. I have to feel comfortable with relinquishing control over aspects of my life to you,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's not gonna fall apart around me.
Show me that you can do that. That I can do that.
And that's hard because again there's a lot of different characteristics that are played here. You could be type A type A
Mm-hmm.
person is going to have a very hard time of submitting. It is this fact because when you're type A it's just like I have to do this, or
Right.
your upbringing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Case
The
in
upbringing definitely is huge.
yes, case in point, you know, a thing that reoccurs with uh me and my relationship is that, you know, my husband and I have, we grew up, I don't want to say vastly different because it's not vastly different, but he's from the Midwest, I'm from the East Coast. um you know, we both grew up in a single parent home. However, you know, like the way I grew up, my mother was like, you don't depend on no man for nothing, because my mom was very dependent on men.
Mm-hmm.
Don't depend on a man for anything, and that was drilled into me and my sister's head. So much so that we have become so independent that we don't, it's hard for us to understand that it is
Right.
okay to let somebody do something for
For
you,
you.
because we've been programmed to think we have to always do it ourselves. And I
Right.
understand now that that wasn't my mom's intention. She wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like trying to create us to be these superpower women that don't ever need a man. But I think what happened is that you just hear that over and over again, and then you see
Mm-hmm.
some of the situations that your parent is in, and you're like, I don't ever want that to be me.
Exactly.
And so it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's hard, but you have to show your partner that you trust them, but you also have to create a safe environment and space for you to be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow your partner to provide, and that is hard again for women or men who are so used to taking care of themselves. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
for you to let your spouse do something for you sometimes, right? I don't need you to get me food, but I want to get you food, but I don't need that.
Right.
But sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes submit
It's
to
give and
the,
take.
yes, to the will of somebody else. You have to submit to somebody else being submissive
Right. And be okay with
and be
that.
okay with that. That somebody wants to take care of you. That someone wants to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that your needs are met. Yeah, you didn't ask me for food, but I'm going to get it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because there's a mission to love, respect, and grow together.
I think it's such a conundrum though with that because some people will do that. So men or women will pretend that that's what they want to do to lure you into a certain position, and then boom, upside the head, that's not his, and then they dismiss you, and then now you're like, what just happened? Because this person went out of their way to act like they wanted to do all these things for me, and then they turned around
Well,
and,
that's a
you know,
narcissist, and we can get into that. That's narcissistic
whew,
behavior right
it is
there.
narcissistic behavior. But and some people do it because that's what they've seen,
Well,
because they may have grown up in a household where they didn't have that relationship dynamic to even see.
right,
So now they're going off of what they know and repeating that,
right.
and
No,
the cycle begins, or
facts.
and you know, and the cycle keeps going. Same with women, like you said, if you're in a single family home, you got to be self sufficient. And I don't think men also think about that either. So men are quick to be like, "Yo, you know, my dad wasn't around," and it has an impact on them. So on the flip side, it's also going to have an effect on the women that you may meet that are in that same position, and how you view the other partner and how you trust.
Right,
And then maybe some men have seen their moms, because of their single family situation, do things that they may not think are appropriate, and now they forever see women in a particular way. So now they're not going to treat women in a that particular dynamic
right.
or let them submit.
No, those are facts. That is an absolute fact. That's an absolute fact. I can't say nothing else, but that's an absolute fact. Um, Always ask for your partner's opinion, and it doesn't matter if you're 100% sure they'll agree with you. It still makes a person feel important. Like, hey, babe, do you think I should drive to work? Well, no, because that's minuscule. Hey, babe, do you think I should take this new job? Even though you knew you were going to take it, it's
Right.
still nice to be included in the conversation.
Exactly. It should be a conversation. You shouldn't be finding out that this person made a life decision without you.
Right.
Then why are y'all together?
Hey, babe, I'm thinking
If you,
about getting my master's. What do you think?
what do you think about that?
I'm thinking about back to get my PhD. What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
I really want to do it. So how can we make this work as a team? Okay? And I think that part is what is bothersome to men,
Mm.
because that is a submission, right? Because you are
Yes.
allowing someone else to have opinion and almost dominion over a choice that you're making for yourself. And a lot of men aren't willing to do that, because why do I need to do that? I'm a grown ass man. Then why do
Why
I
they
need to
always
do
say
that?
that, and you ain't a grown ass man, but they quick to say I'm a grown ass
Well,
man and
they'll
you
say
not.
that I'm a grown ass man, but then okay, but I'm a grown ass woman.
Thank
So
you.
why is it different for you than it is for me?
Right. Mm.
And that's where I think it's difficult for men to submit, because it's like, what? Why I gotta ask you what I want? I'm doing this for me. Why I gotta ask you? Why would? Because we're a unit.
Right. The unit. Unit.
And be sensitive to your partner's needs. Some partners absolutely need to feel included and involved in the decisions, even if they're not going to give a real opinion. They just want you to include them as a respect. Just, I'm here. Acknowledge that I exist
Yep.
before you make these decisions.
Acknowledgement
Right.
is the word of the day. One of the words. Acknowledgement goes so far
Right.
when it comes to considering being submissive.
Right. Here's a part of submission that I didn't think about until today. Don't speak negatively of your partner, especially when there are other people around. And I didn't think about that. And I was like, yeah, that is a part of submission, because you're supposed to have you really should speak ill of your partner, and especially if you are talking about your partner to other people around. But what I mean by bad, like, yes, we all complain. We can go to your girlfriend like, girl, he got on my nerves today. But that's different than what we know that actually means, right?
Right. Right.
There's a different level, because there's that borders on the line of disrespect. Like, you're
Yep.
out, you're with you're in a group setting, like, well, she don't even cook. She come home and, I be starving. She don't make no meals. She don't do that. That's no. Why are we doing that? But
Right.
anyway, be intimate with your partner. But here's the key: intimacy is not just sex, and we have
Thank
to
you.
understand that.
I don't think people don't understand that.
I think there's a difference. I think men sometimes, when they hear intimacy, they think sex, And
That's,
women
yeah,
think intimacy everything but sex.
correct. And that is why they're from Mars. We're from Mars, they from Venus, whatever it is.
And you have to understand that there has to be a level of intimacy because intimacy leads to trust and trust leads to
Mm-hmm.
submission.
Yes, exactly.
Be more patient, assist your partner, and give your partner privacy. And that's important because yes, you're a unit, but there are some things that your partner just may not need to share or want to share, and you need to give them the privacy and allow them the ability to come to you and say this. Don't be snooping around trying to figure out what they doing, when they doing it, unless
Mm-hmm.
unless it's women intuition, that's something totally different. But
Right, right.
you understand what I
Or
mean
you
in the
need something for a
context,
court case.
right? Right, but you understand. Jesus. Let's go to break. We going to break. Let's just go to break. That's we gotta go to break. And we are back. We are here with the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama, and I am your hood Dalai Lama. Today's quote, I got nothing. That's me. That's from Z. I got shit. Because this world is, America is ghetto. The only thing I'm looking forward to is Friday.
New Earth.
New Earth. I'm looking forward to New Earth and Stranger Things. I honestly would prefer to live in the upside down right now. with the demagogue or whatever it is and them aliens that here on Earth and the right side up.
I'm just saying.
Send me to the upside down.
Well, I hate it here. Where we going to New Earth? So, thank y'all for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. As you know, you can follow us on Instagram at sippintea_Nat and Z_pod and on Facebook at Sippin' Tea Nat and Z to get information on upcoming podcasts, topics, guests, and news. Thanks for listening, and catch us next episode where we talk about vulnerability. I'm going to say it one more time.
What are we talking about?
Vulnerability. I couldn't say it the first time. I can't.
Vulnerability.
Yeah. Vulnerability. All right, have a good week, y'all. Y'all know what I'm trying to say.